It is now 12 o'clock. I would like to welcome everyone here today, and we will call the Franklin City Commission to order. This is a regular meeting, and I will ask Commissioner Bush to lead us in a word of prayer.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Bush. We will move on to hear the public. If there's no one here, we will move on to the approval of minutes, and that'll be the approval of minutes of the September 8th, 2025 regular meeting and public hearing. And I'm sure everyone's had an opportunity to look over the minutes, and are there any questions or comments?
Make a motion with approval.
We have a motion by Commissioner Powell to approve.
Second, Mayor.
Second by Commissioner Stewart. Are there any further comments or questions or corrections? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
And those minutes stand approved as they are stated. We will move on to recognitions, and we have the Franklin, I think Roger Solomon, Chief, is going to speak to us to that.
All right, thank you, Mayor. I've got Cameron London with me today. He's our newest hire. He actually is his first day. We're going to get him sworn in today, but I'm going to tell you all a little bit about him. Cameron's from Bowling Green. He's got 2 children, Spencer and Gunner. He's a graduate from Nashville Auto Diesel College, so that might come in handy with our mechanical stuff. Not that we have a lot of diesel stuff, but like I figured it'll translate a little bit. So, but currently I think working for Scott and Ritter. You still work with him? Yep. So he'll actually go to the academy in December. So I was just informing him today, like the good news is he'll see the street on solo patrol in like 11 months. So that's always the good news. So it just takes so long to get him hired and get him through the academy and get him out on the street. But he's excited to start with us, and he'll start his pre-academy curriculum here pretty soon. So we'll do 6 weeks with that. His last 4 weeks will be the academy stuff before he goes to the academy online. So if y'all don't have any questions, I'll send him over to Scott Crabtree and let him get sworn in.
Well, come on over, Cameron. Welcome aboard. Well, I haven't sworn you in yet, so I can't say that to you officially. I got to lift my glasses. I'm too old to read without them, or with them. Please raise your right hand and swear or affirm as follows. I, Cameron London, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky, that you possess the required qualifications to hold this office, and that you will faithfully execute to the best of your ability the office of police officer for the city of Franklin, Kentucky, according to law. Do you further solemnly swear that since the adoption of this present Constitution that you have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within this state nor out of it, nor have you accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you acted as a second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help you God? And do you further solemnly swear or affirm that you will endeavor to the best of your ability to detect and prosecute all gamblers and others violating the laws against gaming? If so, please say yes or I will. Yes. Welcome aboard now. Yes, sir. Thank you. Cameron, I'm going to give the paperwork to the chief, and then you're good.
No, I never did fight one.
Welcome, Cameron. Welcome. Okay, we will move on to community services, and that will be an update from Brittany Curry, the Boys and Girls Club. And Brittany, you have the podium, so we will be glad to hear an update from you.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the Commission for having us, or having me here to give a quick update on the Boys and Girls Club, and thank you to the city for the ongoing support in every possible way. It has definitely been a busy year with lots of changes and lots of updates, but I am proud to stand in front of you and tell you that I feel comfortable and confident with how the club is moving forward, the changes that we've made, and the changes that we continue to see in the upcoming year. I have spent the last year trying to get to understand the community's needs, where we can best fit in here. The number one thing that I've learned is that just as much as we need the community needs us. In a lot of ways, we cut back this year to try to better serve the kids that do walk through our blue doors, make sure that we are doing what our mission says that we will do, and truly standing up for and being a steady presence for the kids who come through the doors. We have talked to parents, we've talked to community members, we've talked to board members, we have worked closely with BGCA and other clubs in the state to make sure that we are fulfilling that mission. One of the main things that we hear from parents, especially lower income parents or parents who maybe have one person, like one adult in the household, is that the Boys and Girls Club serves as a true saving grace for those parents. We've heard that there are, in many cases, some parents, specifically moms, who are able to hold a full-time job that will support their families because of the club. Many of you know our yearly fee is $15 a year. That's not a week or a month, it's a year, school year. It's a little different in the summer. But as I was a single mom with 2 kids when I moved to Nashville originally, and I was paying $450 a week in childcare, it barely makes it worth it to work. The fact that we have a place that provides parents a safe place to go where their kids are cared for, and it's not just a daycare, it's so much more, means a lot to the community and also to us to make sure that we are here and staying here. But a lot of those conversations have resulted in some strategic changes. We were acting as mainly a child care facility in a lot of ways, but we now see the opportunity to open our doors to more kids in a lot of different ways, bring back the arts into the club, bring back music into the club, bring different sports into the club. We're working on expanding our garden program to include nutrition classes, to show kids how to prepare the food that they've grown from the ground and started from seed, which has been a really cool thing to watch now that I've been there, a full life cycle of the plants. It's really been neat to watch the kids select what they're gonna grow and then harvest it and then now watch the plants die, unfortunately. But it's been very interesting. We are also hoping to expand our STEM program, so move our STEM center over to a larger room and include robotics. We've been presented with the opportunity to receive funding for robotics and in competition as well, so kids will learn how to build and program and compete with their robots, which I think is a really neat experience. Also, career exploration. From what we've heard from BGCA, Boys and Girls Club of America, nationwide, employers are telling us that kids are not prepared when they get into the workforce. So I've been meeting with lots of different business leaders around town, and we're finding out where we can fit in with this, because we know the schools are also offering career exploration and workforce development. So where do we fit in? So we are learning that essentially we need to show the kids how to use simple programs like Microsoft software, things like that. Expose them to the different trades, different opportunities, professional opportunities, things that some of them may have never even known existed. Just give them the exposure to see what those different potential occupations are in the future. It's not necessarily about getting them ready to go into the workforce. It's about getting them ready for after high school. I know I grew up in Crittenden County, Kentucky, and a lot of the kids that I grew up with simply weren't prepared. I can't say I was fully prepared, and I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. So it's more so about just making sure kids know what their opportunities are and what the simple tools that they're going to be using are once they enter the workforce. So on that note, if anyone would like to partner with the Boys and Girls Club or explore the ways we can partner or tell me more about what you do, please reach out. I am open to conversations all the time because we're just trying to learn where we fit into that puzzle. Another way we're trying to align with our community's needs is through mental health resources. We know kids, 60% of high schoolers are reporting that they are challenged with either anxiety or depression. 60%. And what are the resources that are available for them? The schools are doing their best, but that's a lot of kids, and they can't necessarily all get the resources that they need, so we are trying to figure out where we can fit in with that as well, as far as offering mental health resources and talking more about the things that challenge you. You can deal with them in a healthy way and stay away from the unhealthy ways, like substances and risky behaviors. We recently closed our teen center because we felt like essentially there were a lot of situations happening that we just didn't feel comfortable with. Let's just be very clear. And I felt the need to go ahead and take action on it. It was the best time of year. It was the beginning of the year. Why would we not take from the summer to fall break to freshen up the space, retrain our staff, and make sure that we are, again, doing what we say we're going to do. So we are really leaning into exposing our teens to more than just video games, making sure that they know how to use that extra energy that they've got, or how to work through some of the feelings that they're feeling, how to talk to each other respectfully. So we are closed currently for renovations and for upgrades in every possible way, but we plan to reopen on October 13th. We just reopened our enrollment for the teen center, and we've already got a waiting list, so people are ready to be back. And I don't think it's just because they need a place for their teens to go. It's because they actually wanted to be there. We were receiving calls the entire time about how their kids were ready to get back to the club and to see what else we had to offer. So we're very excited for that. We are also trying to make ourselves more and get more involved in the community. So I've challenged my staff at both clubs, we have one in Allen County as well, to do a quarterly volunteer project. So if anyone has a volunteer project that you'd like the Boys and Girls Club to be part of, we want to be part of it. We are working to revamp our building, but we're also working to help the community. We're nothing without the community, so please keep us involved. And also, if you see the Boys and Girls Club out, if you see our kids, if you see our staff, just stop and say hi and tell them thanks. Maybe we can continue this whole community engagement thing. We also, as part of that, we just partnered with Brickyard Cafe for our Homegrown at Heart campaign, which we will continue into next year. They used our produce that we grew in the garden, so we had butternut squash, cherry tomatoes, and green tomatoes that they used for stuffed butternut squash, fried green tomatoes, and then of course the cherry tomatoes for the salads. But all the produce went to the Boys and Girls Club. It was a huge success for us. It was we had a lot of engagement, we had a lot of participation. Next year, we hope to expand that whenever it's actually the heart of our harvest, when we have everything going. She grows about 27 different varieties of produce there, plus wildflowers, and we look to grow that out again next summer. And then, as many of you know, we hosted a quilt show over the weekend to bring the community into the club, get to see what it looks like right now. And then we'll welcome you all back in a few months so you can see what it looks like inside then, because we are working on murals. We're working on upgrades, making it a fun, vibrant, and exciting space. The quilt show was the first chance for people to get to see where we're at right now so they can see where we're going. It was successful. We welcomed a few hundred people through the doors. I don't have the exact count right now. We raised almost $4,000. So it was pretty successful for a quilt show that we put together in just a couple months. So we were pretty happy with it. But the quilt show was called Stitching a Family Legacy, and it was, we showed off the quilts of Ms. Virginia Johnson, who had about, like I said, 150 of them. And so we were very thankful for that and thankful for everybody's involvement. And then going forward, we're hoping to partner with more businesses in the community and more nonprofits and people who need us so that we can just get out there, expand our community engagement, and expand our workforce development program, and then ultimately improve the club as a whole. So thank you all for your ongoing support, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions about the club?
Mayor, may I ask?
Yes, you may.
Obviously, Brittany, thank you for coming today and giving this presentation, because obviously we have someone that serves on the commission that's on the board.
Absolutely.
It's always good to see the face of the club, which is normally the director, because that's who has to give the answer to whatever happens. You made mention, and I was on the board before, you made mention of the word child care. And I heard that a lot, but I heard it, I guess it was more of a derogatory than it was a compliment. I would always encourage you to embrace that statement, child care, because that's what you do. You care for the children that's down there, and anybody who think it's, you've almost rewritten or redefined what traditional child care is called. And you do a tremendous job down there. And I definitely would encourage you to continue to embrace that. How many, because I know when COVID hit, I know that it decreased the numbers. What are the numbers now that you serve on a daily basis?
Well, first of all, thank you for saying about childcare. You're exactly right, and I appreciate thank you. When I started, we had about 120 kids in the club, which was a year ago. Since we closed our teen center at this moment, we have 60 to 75 in the club, but when our teen center reopens, we'll be back up to around 120. Our goal is to take it to about 150, but we want to do that in a thoughtful manner so that we're not just bringing kids in the door. We want to make sure that we are able to serve everybody in the way. Also, we have almost an entirely new staff, and I want to make sure that everybody's getting the time to be trained and grow, and that we're scaling in a thoughtful way rather than just trying to pile in. But that is the goal.
Well, I know that, again, with the child care and the perception that may be out there about the Boys and Girls Club, I totally support it. And I would encourage everybody in the community at some point in time to please just stick their head inside. Obviously, you guys don't run on what's called a line item budget for anybody. So a lot of that is just money that's got to be raised. And of course, we do make contributions from the city standpoint. But if you can't go and support them monetarily, support by just sticking your head in and just patting the child on the back and let them know how important they are. And I think that would make a big difference with the club and the direction it's going as well, to get all the support they can get.
I would.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thanks. Anyone else?
Brittany, I just want to say to you, it's a pleasure to have you to give us information. I think a lot of people think it is a babysitting place, but it's far, far more than that, because my wife serves on the board, and I hear about the good things that you all do, and appreciate everything that the Boys and Girls Club, that you lead them to do in this community, and appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on under general government, and that'll be discussion or possible action regarding the trick-or-treat hours. And Kenton, you want to speak to that? And
Yes, sir. It's the annual thing. We started getting questions last week when we were going to have Halloween. It's still October 31st. 4:30 to 7:30, we talked to the chief. So the motion is to set the Halloween trick-or-treat hours on Friday, October 31st, from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Bush. Second. Second by Commissioner Powell. All in favor, aye. Aye. And that motion carries. Okay, and we'll move on to discussion or possible action regarding street closing request by the First Methodist Church for trunk or treat, and that's another date. And Kent, I think.
Yes, sir, Mayor.
Certain was-
I'll just go ahead and read their motion. They went ahead and got the permit to close the street, but the motion is to approve the street closing request on First United Methodist Church for trunk or treat on Friday, October 31st, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. For the College Street at the intersection of Cedar and College, and the intersection of Kentucky and College.
Make that motion, Mayor.
We have a motion by Commissioner McQuarrie,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bush. Any further questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposition? And that motion carries also. Okay, moving on will be discussion and a possible action regarding street closing request by the FS Renaissance for Booth Fest. And Kenton, you've got that one also.
This should be
So-
my last one. It's a motion to approve the street closing request for Franklin Simpson Renaissance for Boo Fest on October 18th from 12 noon to 9 p.m. on College Street
I'll make
at the
that motion.
intersection of Cedar and College and the intersection of Kentucky and College Street.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Bush. Second. Second by Commissioner Powell. Any further comments or questions? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposition? And that motion carries. Okay, next will be discussion and a possible action regarding the Franklin Simpson Fire and Rescue and the Franklin Simpson Ambulance Service Memorandum of Understanding, and I believe Kenton will speak to that, and we have our chief here also.
If you don't need me, I'll sit down.
Going to.
I didn't know he was going to take it.
And miss your smiling
That's
face.
right.
You have
Did
any
you want
comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Take it?
comment?
Okay, good. All right. Do you guys have a copy of the memo? Have you guys
Yes,
had a
we
chance
have.
to
Yeah,
review?
we do.
Okay, gotcha. So this is just a document. It's again, it's a memo of understanding. It's just basically just kind of agreeing in principle for operations between the ambulance service and the fire department. And really the most important part of it here, I guess the bulk of it here, is just the actual events that we will be responding to, in addition to what we're already doing. This will create an automatic dispatch on these certain qualifying events. And I'm just going to touch over those briefly, but basically cardiac arrest, suspected heart attack, suspected stroke, a difficulty breathing, respiratory distress type call, a unresponsiveness, a injury accident, which, you know, we currently do. We already have the agreement to respond and do those extrications with them. Some trauma, significant bleeding, you know, with a little bit of an exception there that you can read about, and then responding to EMS calls on the interstate, in which we spend a lot of time out on the interstate doing car wrecks and whatnot. But that was one thing Tom and Ed talked about was when ambulance gets, you know, called out to the interstate. It is very vulnerable, and, you know, that way we can be there, one, for you know, apparatus to help, you know, protect that ambulance crew, same way as we do on working a car wreck now. So that's just the kind of the basis of it. I'll be happy to take any questions on it if you have anything that you need to, like some clarification on or anything. But
Pretty self-explanatory.
what's that?
I said
Yeah, it is. I mean,
self-explanatory.
it's just, I mean, it's very straightforward. Like I said, it just kind of outlines the, some of the, I guess, legal side of it, you would say, is in there. But-
Chief, do you need any type of an approval from this body?
I mean, I don't think so.
I agree with you. I just didn't know if-
As I understand it, and I'll be honest, I've not really got a 100% clear answer on it. As I understand, the MOUs do not really require any kind of action like say, a resolution, an ordinance, or, you know, whatever would. So, I mean,
And
as
I would
long
agree
as
with
this,
you, I just didn't know if you wanted votes of assurance.
I don't think we need anything. I mean, I've not been asked anything. I mean, are you, as long as you guys are good, I mean, you know, obviously we're here because, you know, you guys wanted that, to hear that agreement or whatever. So, I mean, if you guys are good with it, you know, I don't necessarily need a vote or anything on our end of it. I mean, so.
My understanding is that you all will work together, other than if you have an emergency that you have to go to, or vice versa.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
basically.
so we
the-
did put that in
that you-
there too, and again, my biggest concern about all that was, I just didn't want to get the fire department and the county in some kind of a legal bind by us being, you know, having our hands tied by a legal document that says, hey, we have to be here on this EMS call, and, you know, we're unavailable to make a fire call. And, you know, this document, I feel like, gives everybody enough leniency either way, and it does specifically say that, hey, if there is a fire event, you know, that we're clear to go to that event. So, I mean, if you guys are good with it, then
Sounds good to me.
good.
So what do we do with the money after this? Are we still waiting on the funding for the,
Funding is in the budget. I mean,
It's in the budget.
so I don't know, it's like, so then after that, because wasn't this what we were waiting on?
We were,
Yeah,
yeah.
There it is.
it is, it is.
But we
Yeah.
did budget for, I think some headlines said that we was withholding funding, waiting on a plan. That is true, but we never said we would withhold funding from the fire department. But I would ask Tom Scott to take the podium for just a second. I want to ask him a couple of questions and get his explanation on the thing or two. I just want to clarify to the public why this is going to enhance public safety and doing something that we're not currently doing. Tom, would you explain to them with your work experience and where you've been in other counties and how this has worked and how it has the potential, and you know well as I do, it will save somebody's life at some point. Just kind of explain how that's, what you've seen, how it's worked in other counties.
Sure. So make it as brief as I can. As far as background, started EMS here, a year or so here into Bowling Green EMS, into Air Medical EMS that put me through a decent amount of Indiana, all of Kentucky, and a big part of Tennessee. We've seen similar situations like this, or I've seen it pretty much across all 3 states that I've worked in. And I think honestly, it's just the best setup if resources allow for it. And like I said, Chief and I have talked about it a lot. They have priorities, we do too. Those will always be prioritized. So this is just in the meanwhile. But
Would you give kind of a scenario, because you've been there and I have too, you know, if you got a crew to go out at 2 in the morning, 5 miles out somewhere, would you just kind of explain how this program will implement it to expedite?
oh, yeah, absolutely. So keep in mind, if EMS goes out on call, it's basically an ambulance and 2 crew members. With this setup, we're at least allowing for likely the additional 2 sets of hands. So and that's the main thing, is being able to move adult patients rapidly from wherever they are into the ambulance. So that's the ultimate goal, and I think that'll allow us to achieve that in a much better situation than what we're currently doing.
All right, appreciate it, Tom.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
And Mayor, I want to follow up with one more thing. This is my personal experience. I worked in other counties when we actually go into a house and there's 2 people. And these critical calls that Tom and Leslie put together, I can't tell you the importance of having 2 extra people there to expedite anybody that's called for an ambulance and seeing a loved one having a seizure, cardiac arrest, stroke, what have you. Getting those people out of the home is half the battle. To allow 2 people, a paramedic, to actually start giving treatment. Well, if you're tied up trying to get them out of the house, you're not going to be able to provide that treatment. What this does is allow for that opportunity to happen and merely just expedites the patient to get them to definitive care. And that's what the goal is of all this. This is pretty well common practice across the state of Kentucky, and I'm thrilled that we're implementing this program. It's going to save somebody's life. But, thank you, Tom.
Okay. Thank you both.
Appreciate it,
guys.
Moving on, we will have discussion and a possible action regarding the request to waive penalty and interest on occupational fees. And Jennifer Knight's going to speak to us on that.
Yes.
And I just want to say ahead of time of her speaking, this lady has put numerous hours into this. So at this point, Jennifer, you take it and go with it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. We do have a facility, it's Workforce. They're a professional employer organization who has employees that are working at the Trader Joe's facility. They just established their account with the City of Franklin on September the 5th. However, they've had employees here since September 18th of '23. In conversation and multiple meetings, they stated that they were unaware that they had a city tax that was going to be implemented on them for payroll withholdings. So they're, of course, asking the city to waive the $1,600 in interest and then the $3,000 in penalty. The total amount that they owe the city currently is a little over $16,000. This was revealed due to a lot of research. I probably have spent 90-plus hours trying to unravel the whole employee situation out there in that facility. And so I'm hoping that by the end of this quarter, this issue will be resolved and we can move forward. But I'm here just because they did ask that I would present this to the commission and ask to see if the fees could be waived. So,
Mayor, if I may, I was asked about this issue as well. Legally, we cannot waive the interest.
what I thought.
We do have the ability potentially to waive the penalty under certain circumstances. However, in talking to Jennifer about this, it's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you had to go after them, they didn't come to us.
Yes, sir, that is correct, yes.
And also, Mayor, you correct me if I'm wrong here, in the discussions where Trader Joe was to locate here, I think it was made abundantly clear with the people who were owning or developing the company that there were occupational taxes due and owing both for the city and the county. Isn't that correct as well?
That is correct. That is correct.
Under the law, there is under the KARs, Kentucky Administrative Regulations, there is the ability to waive penalties. However, this body, the city commission, has to make a finding, and I want to make sure I'm right, that there has to be, let me get the exact nomenclature, that they can have it waived if they have ignorance of reporting requirements. That's one of them, but it's basically under an undue hardship exception. And the ignorance of reporting requirement is generally only comes into play if you consider it in conjunction with many facts and circumstances, and it's generally if they pay it, come to us and they pay it and go, whoops, we didn't know we had to pay it. In this case, as I understand it, and again, I don't want to misspeak, you had to go to them to try to collect this money, not the other way around. Again, do you have the ability to waive it? Yes, if you want to make a motion and whatever. I'm not quite sure based on the regulations that they qualify, but certainly I would defer to this body to make that ultimate decision on the penalty.
Well, I want to speak to that again. We've never done that for anyone else, to my knowledge. And second, you had to work to go after them. And in going after them, they had an understanding. And I think most any factory or any place that comes into this town to do business should understand that there's occupational fees. And it's their job to find that out. It's not our job to go after them. So I would like for a motion to be made that we don't waive anything.
Mayor, if I may, I'll assist you with making that motion because we need to take care of the interest as well. The motion would need to be to decline to the request by Trader Joe's to waive interest and penalties for the past due taxes that are owed. That's
The
close
request
enough.
is from workforce.
Oh, from work, you're right.
Why do we-
From professional.
First of all, I will make a motion to that effect, to the proposed motion that's just been made.
Commissioner Bush had something.
We'll have a discussion after we get a second.
Sir?
Why do we have to make a motion?
Because you have to make a finding at least on the penalties.
Oh,
You don't on
because
the-
they've asked?
You don't on the, because they ask, yes. It has to be brought to you all. You don't really on the interest, but I'm throwing it in there just for staff to clarify so that they know y'all are saying we don't want to do it.
Mayor, I'll second your motion.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, now we'll open up for discussion.
And just a reminder, as with all industries in the industrial parks, the city does not keep those occupational taxes. 100% of these funds will go back to the industrial authority.
That's correct. That's correct.
For Trader Joe's. Yeah, just for Trader Joe's.
Just Trader Joe's.
Just for
Just for Trader Joe's.
They're in
Sorry.
that section,
Yeah,
that 100%.
right, just making it clear. It's just for Trader Joe's.
And do keep in mind, I would like to speak as well, do keep in mind the amount of time that I've poured into this that we will not recoup.
Yeah,
So,
look at the man hours
Yeah.
and
Jennifer,
and the
just-
Yes, sir.
dollar
I do have a
amount.
question. Trader Joe's I feel like they have an orthodox way of employment out there. They have regular employees, and they have seasonal employees to go through whatever that process is. Do you have a grip on how we collect from how that process is operating?
I'm glad you asked that question. The answer currently is yes. Finally, I can say
Good.
yes.
Good, good.
It has, again, it's taken me, I've been doing research on this probably a year, off and on. And it's taken quite some time. I've had meetings with all 4 of the payroll companies that are there. I've had meetings with Jim DeCesare. I've had meetings with Kenton and Carol, just kind of trying to and Scott, trying to wrap my mind around and understand what they're doing with the payroll out there. And
They're sending it to Franklin County, ADP is.
Well, actually, we have just gotten funds from, well, we don't get anything from ADP.
Yeah, because they sent it to Franklin County.
They don't.
Do you know which one did that? Which,
All employers that use ADP send, there's no Franklin, Kentucky. It's just Franklin County.
We get lots of
we
money
get all
from
kinds of
ADP.
funds
Huh?
from ADP.
We get a lot of money
Do you?
through ADP.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everyone that I've seen has never had Franklin and Simpson County. It's always Franklin County. So,
We collect money quarterly and monthly from ADP for different organizations, not necessarily Trader Joe's.
yeah, I always thought it was weird, but I mean,
And I don't mind to take some action to kind of look into.
I mean, that may have
it
changed.
just-
Like,
Yeah, maybe so.
Has it been the whole
I
time?
mean, for
Okay.
years, we have occasional issues that
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
find out somebody's remitting it to the wrong county or instead of the
Yeah, I mean,
city.
they all do it, but
Yeah.
I
We
just,
d-
yeah.
I have a good relationship with Summer from Franklin County. She and I talk a lot because we'll get each other's mail and returns. So if she were to get something that she was unaware of, we're really good about emailing each other and saying, hey, does this tax belong to you? And then she'll send it to me and vice versa. So we usually try to catch the other one. So, but yes, I appreciate that question though, Commissioner Stewart, that it's been a little gruesome.
Yeah, it's been a journey. Yeah, okay, that's all I have. Thank you, Dave.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, we have a motion and a second, and I will take a vote at this time. And Kathy, if you will, we'll do a roll call vote on this.
Okay. Commissioner Powell,
Yes.
Commissioner Bush,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Yes.
you. Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Commissioner McCrary?
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart?
Yes.
And that motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Okay, we will move on to discussion and possible action regarding proposed ordinance amending solicitor's hours. And Scott, you
I will
want to...
take that,
You
Mayor.
want to
As the
speak to it?
commission is aware, I brought this to you all before, that we were threatened with litigation by this pest control company. They came about 3 or 4 weeks ago, or, well, it's been about 2 months ago now, sorry, I'm losing track of time. They were soliciting after 6 p.m., which is in violation of our ordinance. The police were called, they came to the site and told the guys that they could not solicit past 6 p.m. So shortly after that, they got their attorney involved, and apparently they do this all over the country, get their attorney involved in these things if the ordinances don't read correctly. Our ordinance prohibited soliciting from 6 p.m. until 9 a.m. during those hours. This ordinance has been on the books since the 80s, 1986 to be exact. I've never, to be honest with you, I've never had to deal with it, never had any comments or questions about it until this. He is correct that under the existing federal law, 6 p.m. is too early. They have a First Amendment right, according to our federal court system, to be able to solicit and call on houses after people get off work for a reasonable amount of time. Most of the cases say 9 p.m. or dark. The attorney and I, as you all are aware, we went back and forth. I got him to agree to 8 p.m. or dark, whichever is later. Of course, in the summertime, it'll be later, but in the wintertime, it will be sooner. I do believe that this will then be in compliance. The case law is not real clear on the final date, the cutoff time. So I do believe that this will comply with federal law in order to do this, and it will keep him from filing suit. I think I even supplied you all with his complaint. He was ready to file in federal court. So if the commission, if I don't have any questions, and if the commission deems it appropriate, we'll need two sponsors to amend that ordinance, to change our existing ordinance to 8 PM or dark, whichever is later. Yes, sir. Oh, sponsor.
I was gonna sponsor.
I thought you had a question.
No.
So we got one in Commissioner, well, everyone, Commissioner McCrary.
Got your two
Commissioner Stewart.
sponsors, Kathy.
Any questions or anything, any comments before we?
Do you feel like they're going to be happy with that 8 PM decision?
He says that if we pass this, they will not file suit.
Okay.
I have to rely on what the attorney tells me.
But you said earlier, just for clarification, in past meetings, 7 would definitely violate the law.
I do not believe we'd get away with 7, no, sir.
Okay.
And let me say this for the public's benefit and particularly for the Franklin favorite. Please understand, I don't think anybody likes solicitors. I certainly don't. If you put a no solicitation sign on your front door, they have to abide by that. They cannot call on you no matter what the hours are. So please feel free to put that out there whenever you want to or if you want to, and then they cannot call on you no matter when. So unfortunately, that's what federal law says, is that they have the ability to come and call on you later than I wanted them to. But
So there you go, Brittany. Go down to Vital Signs, talk to Mike, get some that's made up that says no soliciting, and sell them for twice whatever he
there
charges.
you go. It's a good fundraiser. You
And
just see, even write it on a piece of notebook paper and stick it to your front door, that'll work, but.
I just got them
it-
all.
this-
there you go. And we don't make the laws. We just have to abide by them.
And I'll have to be honest with you, this has been
Walk away.
more of an annoyance than it's worth, to be honest with you, so, yes.
Sorry, I would just like to say also for the citizens of Franklin, if you have a solicitor that comes to your door, ask to see their City of Franklin solicitor's license.
Yes.
They are required to come to City Hall and get a solicitor's license. If they don't have that, tell them they got to get gone, or call me. I mean, you can call City Hall. I'm happy to do the due diligence and go after them, but
Can we make an ordinance to where they have to put a sign around their neck that says solicitor?
Well, we kind of do that.
yes,
Because you
there
can
are
ask
the
for it.
guidelines to get a solicitor's license is really, it's difficult.
Yeah,
They have to
we,
wear a
They have to have something on them notifying that they are
It's a
from
kind
a
of
certain company.
identification.
And then we ask them to keep their solicitors, because every solicitor has to have their own license. So they should have that on them that they could present to whoever they're soliciting to.
So if they're 1099, does each solicitor have to have a?
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
and
yes.
we've made, this ordinance is pretty difficult to comply with,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
And they have to post a $500 cash bond or a bond from the insurance company with the city that we hold until they are no longer soliciting in the city.
Is this why they don't throw the papers out anymore?
I don't
You know
know.
what I'm talking about?
I think that was more of a littering issue that they stopped them on that, but I can't answer that really. I remember when they did it, but no, I'll give my predecessors credit because they made this ordinance pretty tough to comply with anyway. So with this, we should be in compliance, but again, don't forget, put out your no solicitations ad and you're good to go.
Thank you. I just
Thank
wanted
you,
to make
Jennifer. I
that.
appreciate it. Thank you, Commission.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay. We will move on under general government, and the next will be discussion and a possible action regarding an assistant city manager position. And
Mayor, thank you for adding that. That wasn't on our agenda, but I kind of worked over the weekend. This is something that's kind of been a thought of mine for, as you can see, a couple years. And I apologize for not making a packet, so a lot of things going in my head, and I kind of finalized it yesterday, and I emailed it out. The one things that I'm just kind of going back, and as we all know, the city of Franklin has been growing, and I kind of put a timeline in there, probably 2019, 2020, where we'll really see the ramp. And I think a lot of it's probably in the city, utilities or whatever. We just thought we would probably increase, probably plateau, and things would kind of get back, and we haven't seen that. I haven't felt it. I don't know if anybody else has felt it. So in that, just kind of been covering a basis, and it's getting harder and harder. And then obviously there's a lot of times that I don't cover the basis. And so, and I've had some people ask me, what can you do to help? What can you do to help, or whatever? And I kind of listened to all of that, and I just, I thought, okay, I'll put something out for discussion with the commission. Like I said, it's something that's been on my thought and heart and mind. So I wrote the memo. I just put down some thoughts and ideas, and I thought I'd let the commission ask and what their thoughts were. Just did some basic research on how we can go forward, if that's something we would want to do or not.
Hard no.
Why don't you explain that?
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy to take a look at his track record over the past, 15 years? It takes 6 years to get a sidewalk in. Costs twice as much.
That's also finance. It's called money.
Who's running the city, you or your dad?
Mr. Bush?
Just Mr. Bush, he's a citizen.
Here as well,
Okay,
and my tax dollars pay you sitting up there.
that's
So
fine.
you have every right to use it as well.
Okay. I just noticed when it's other people talking, we have to talk at certain times, but since you're allowed to talk anytime, that's cool. Anyway, still a hard no.
Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner Powell.
I'm usually in City Hall about 3 times every week. And I see what goes on. I see how busy that Kenton is. I know there's projects out there that he needs to be out in the field working on, but he can't get out of there. And we have to look, I think we're at a point to where we've got to look towards the future. We always have to look towards the future. And to me, I've had this on my mind for a long time, even before Kenton brought it up. And I'm 100% for it.
Okay. Anybody else like to speak to it?
Yeah, I want to just look at some facts. Ken and I have had some discussion on this, and I was up front with you and told you I didn't know where I stood on it. As everybody knows, that we recently lost Tammy Carey, our Human Resources Director. I'm kind of torn on this. At the moment, if I had to say yes or no, it would be no. And here's why. I'm looking at number 3, oversee human resources. And I'll share a little bit in your past why I'm getting to this conclusion, my past. When I ran EMS, I had 30 employees, and I handled the human resources work, comp, FMLA, compliance, training, morale. Even with a group of 20 people, I was highly stressed on that. The city is upward toward 80 employees now. I just feel like we need a full-time human resources director to take care of all those issues. And it's super important when you've got 80 employees. You need to be talking with them, helping out on morale issues, be there for insurance questions, and God help you when somebody takes FMLA. That's a bear. But my point is, we're growing in employment. I'm not in favor of a multi-type layered person. I think we definitely need an HR person, 100%, no doubt in my mind. Public information, I think Bacon's doing a great job on that. I think she'll continue to. So we need to look at the problems at hand more than just jumping on a first fix. Again, what I also like to see is another person, I'm just throwing it out there, Mayor. It's been on my mind lately. We need somebody at City Hall answering the phone every day. I'm going to share an example with you. I thought about this for a long time. And last month, I called Bowling Green, City Hall, just out of curiosity. I talked to a live person within 2 rings. I turned around and called Russell City Hall. I got a person within 3 rings. I called Allen County, Scottsville. I got a person. I think we need to start looking at a person that's flexible on things more like that, greeting the public, taking phone calls live. If the people's not available, they can take messages, pass it on. But again, I think we need the HR person full-time. So I'd like to see us make some changes, but I think we need more discussion on how we're going to change some things in the future to be more welcoming into our citizens and some of the things I just discussed. So my opinion right now is to put this on hold because I think we have some options to make the whole department of the city a lot better.
Mayor, if I may.
Commissioner Stewart? Yeah.
I've talked to Kenton several times about, and he knows this, and he was very reluctant really to have any conversation or really express himself how he really felt about the proposal I made to him. And one of the proposals that I did make to him was I asked him if he needed help. Not because he was inefficient with his work or what have you, but there's a lot of shaking and moving in Franklin right now, a whole lot more than it's ever been. What is the liaison between getting something done and not getting it done at times? The mayor's position is part-time, our position is part-time, and it doesn't give us any excuse not to be as adequate about being elected officials. I'm not looking for an excuse to say, well, I don't have time just because I'm part-time. Try to make as much time available as I possibly can with the position that I've been elected to do. But in lieu of a lot of the things that's going on, and I will point this out, as Commissioner McQuarrie made mention of, oversee human resources and public information. Those are two things that's extremely crucial, but the safety and risk management, that may be something that need to be standalone. And with that being said, having someone, we have been fortunate enough to be able to use people in the human resource without, and I don't want this to sound like I'm discrediting any of the people that served as the human resources, but some of these people that served as human resources, they weren't fully trained in that position of human resource. So therefore, a lot of that responsibility had to fall back down on the city manager, city attorney, whoever. And so therefore, what does that do? What does that do to us? That robs time where the other things could be taken care of, projects can be followed through, people that have issues that they need to talk to the city manager. There's availability. We all know that even walking in from one room to the next, sometimes you forget what you're going to get when you walk into another room because of distraction. And it's easy for that to happen, to get a call, to try to be on it, get another call or another call, and be totally distracted, and somewhere something gets lost. That happens quite often. There have been times that maybe I haven't been quite satisfied with some of the level of questioning and things that I would like to see from the city manager. But I do understand that due to the nature of the volume and how the demand is out there, when people want something, they want it today. Not tomorrow, not the day after that, they want it today. Some of that can be, we can fix it, but we all know that some of the things do have to wait because there is a procedure in how it's done. To say all that, I'm in full support of an assistant
Thank you, Commissioner.
manager. I am. I'm not finished, Mayor.
Oh, sorry.
We don't have executive session today, so
I
I'm
wasn't
gonna
cutting you
talk a
off.
little bit, if you don't mind. I'm totally in favor of an assistant city manager for, all the reasons that are listed here. And as I stated, the safety and risk management, we may have to look at another avenue. I think that someone that would be in a human resource position and maybe have a full understanding how to implement that. Maybe at some point in time, this person maybe could help develop someone within the wheelhouse to maybe be able to take over that position.
I think that's the problem. He
Excuse
doesn't
me.
he doesn't need to be.
Commissioner,
Commissioner Stewart's
I
talking
appreciate
right
it if
now.
I could finish. I would.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
To help train and do things of that nature. Years ago, when the city manager's position was implemented from mayor to city manager, it's taken a while, and I think Scott can contest to this, it's taken a while to uniform that. We've had several city managers, not to say that it wasn't good, but how do we strategize the city and put people in place, put employees in positions where they can stand alone and do something without always having to call that says, okay, what do I do next? And I think these people have been strategized. I think all of this has been strategized. Maybe not to the liking of who those people are and the place they are, but I think they do a heck of a job.
So who's hiring the people that are not qualified for HR? Because you said we've had people in HR that weren't qualified.
Well,
so who hired them?
a lot of these people got these positions. Franklin is a small community, and there
Why
are
does that
employees that we've had that just kind of immigrated into these positions because they've been there for a long time and they understood some of the system and how it worked. But as we grow,
So instead of hiring the best, we've just put people in positions.
No, I
That's what
wouldn't
you're
say
saying.
that. That might be how you feel, because I think they've done a good job.
Well, that's what you said.
No, I think they've done a good job. I said what I said is that they was not fully trained how to handle HR positions, and a lot of that fell back down on other people that necessarily could have been doing something else. But we got it done. We got it done. You know, I mean, I'll save this conversation for another time, and maybe even today if you want to have it. But right now, I'm addressing something else, and you can comment however you want to. That's fine, Commissioner Bush. But my point is, and I'll make it state, and I'm done, I fully, and you hear me, I fully support us hiring an assistant manager. Whether it passes today or not, that's fine. That's okay. But that's my point.
Cool.
And I stand behind it, and it doesn't matter what you think.
I know, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying.
Cool.
Okay. Now, you go ahead. You got the floor.
No, I'm just glad we got it on tape. That's cool. That's all I care
You're
about.
going to put it on Facebook anyway, but my point I'm making is that you know, we're dealing with it today. So let's deal with it. If you got something that you want to say it here. Say it on the
I mean, I
camera.
think it's pretty clear, we know that I'm not a fan of the city manager, so I don't want to hire assistant city manager and have the current city manager train that assistant city manager when the city manager we have currently is not doing a great job.
That's how you see it.
Mayor, you need a motion.
No, sir, I want to rebut that. I'll take a motion in a moment. I want to speak to that, and I want to, first of all, I want to say, I'm at City Hall every day. I know what goes on, and there's not a worker sitting in here that won't tell you that I'm there every day. I don't know how Kenton Powell ever gets anything done most of the time, because either his phone's ringing, somebody is interrupting him, somebody's there to see him, somebody there is there to talk to him, and that's first of all. Next, our community is growing. We need to think about the future. We need to be thinking about what the future holds for this community. This community is doing well. This city's doing well. It's been doing well, and it'll continue to do well as long as I'm mayor and as long as we have a city manager as good as Kenton Powell. I want to make that statement. Then third, we need to be thinking about Kenton Powell. I or Kenton Powell or any of us, we could get run over tomorrow, or something could happen that we couldn't be there. You know what? Who's going to take on the responsibilities? And we've got a staff that's overworked. Our staff is overworked, and I'm just putting that out to the community. I want the community to know that. They're far overworked. And then we have, and I'm going to make this for the record, we have a commissioner that's sitting here, Commissioner Bush, that's been since he's been in office, he's been in the office twice. He's been in that office twice. He never comes to speak about anything. He's good at getting on Facebook and posting along with his buddies what he wants to put out there. He always has a lot of accusations, but he never has anything to help him. He's got a lot to put out there that's bad information. That's bad for the city, and it's bad for everybody. And I want to make that clear to the community right now. I want to make that very clear. So at this point, I'll take a motion from Commissioner Powell to...
I make a motion, we start the process to look for an assistant city manager.
Do I have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
We have a second by Commissioner Stewart. Do we have any further comment? Kathy, will you take a roll call vote for us, please?
Commissioner Powell,
Yes.
Commissioner Bush,
Hell no.
And we don't use that kind of language. We're not, Mr. Commissioner Bush.
We just did.
I just, you know what?
Mayor.
It's not ethical.
Well,
And
you want to talk about ethics, buddy?
Let's finish.
Hey.
Let's finish.
Let's just wait for the one that's coming next.
Mayor, let's finish. the
You
vote.
wanna talk about
Let's finish
ethics?
carrying this out.
Kathy,
Between now and Christmas, it's going to be
Mayor
fun.
Dixon.
Get ready.
Commissioner Mayor Dixon.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner McCrary,
Before I answer, before I answer, I want to make something perfectly clear. This isn't about what we're talking about. I think Kenton does a great job. I'm stuck on that we need a full-time HR manager. I'm not saying Kenton doesn't need help. I just can't vote on that today for it to be appropriate. Anybody that works in the organizations know that if you have 8 employees You need a full-time HR director. There's no way around that. I've been in business too long in my life. So again, I can't emphasize enough. I think Kenton's doing a good job. I think he needs some help. I know Carol needs help, and I know we need somebody answering the phones, but we'll save that for another day. So today, my vote is no.
Commissioner Stewart?
Yes.
And that passes 3-2.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, we will move on to public safety, and we will have discussion and a possible action regarding amendment to police policy and proposal agreement for services, and Chief Solomon will speak to that.
Thank you, Mayor. If you remember last meeting, Major Thompson presented our mental health and wellness program. Probably perfect timing for that. What y'all asked for us to do is amend our policy in our EAP to include mental health wellness program, which is included in your packet today. Additionally, with that, I've included your contract for the mental health counseling from Shelley Denise Champagne Counseling, LLC, and Scott both reviewed the contract and the policy itself for grammatical and legal. Before I make the motion, do you all have any questions about this? Okay. All right, so the motion is, the commission finds it appropriate. We would request that the commission adopt this policy as well as the included written contract with Shelley Denise
Chief, can
Champagne.
I interrupt you for a second? Because we've got she put those other two policies Kelly sent me next. Let's include all that in one. Just tell them about the other two policies, and let's go ahead and...
So
if
we
that's
also,
okay.
the next topic was Chapter 21
Sorry,
uniforms,
man.
and then also Chapter 20 canine operations. We just made a few revisions of that. It's all included in your policy in red. It included a little bit more about the tattoo policies. Like, we're getting a lot of people this day and age, they're getting out of the military with little tattoos on their fingers and hands and stuff like that. So we're just being a little bit more inclusive to that kind of stuff. We went to a legal class. They were talking about male grooming standards with pulling your hair up in ponytails. You can't just let females do that now. You got to let the option for males. So you got to be a little bit more inclusive with that, or we can get ourselves in a bind. The canine operations was basically to change from the USPCA to the American Working Dog, and additionally, our training aides, we're going to allow our records, our evidence evidence clerk, check out our training aides like once a month and then check it back in. So we made some revisions to that. So I guess our motion would be to adopt all of these policies that I just talked about, and then also the contract with Shelley Denise Champagne Counseling, LLC, and have the mayor sign the contract as approved.
Perfect. Good job.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Bush. Second. We have a second by Commissioner Powell. Any further discussion or comment? Roll call vote. Kathy, please.
Commissioner Powell?
Yes.
Commissioner Bush?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Commissioner McCrary?
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart?
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, Chief, I believe you have the next one too,
No,
don't you?
No, he did both of them. He did both of them.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, they combined them. Right. I got you. Yep. Okay, we'll move on to utilities, and that'll be discussion regarding wastewater model presentation by Barge Design Solutions. And Trent, you want to?
It's so big, takes 4 out of you, isn't it?
That's right.
Well, I know Pat's been here before, but I'm going to introduce Pat Stevens. He's with Barge Design Solutions, the engineer firm that we use with the city. He's brought his team today. They've been working on the wastewater bottler for for the last few years, and they're just coming today to present to the commission the work they've done and show you its capabilities. So I'm just going to turn it over to Pat.
You ain't gonna let them stand back
No,
there,
I
are
need
you?
them. They're the key here. Thank you, Mayor, for letting us come
Thank
to
you.
be here with you, your board, and all the city officials. As previously mentioned, my name is Pat Stevens. I work at Barge Design Solutions. We started this endeavor probably 3 years ago, and it's been a great project to help our city prepare for the future. In this day and age, we are past the days of pulling out the old notepad and running calculations on a notebook. A lot of it's digital now, and with the growth in technology and the abilities that we have to accurately look at what our city's doing and how it's performing, and then predicting what's going to happen in the future, from my standpoint, I'm a project manager, but it blows my mind. And I've got two individuals here with me today that they are in the midst of it. And so I'll just go to the next slide here. Justin Graham is on my right-hand side. Liliana is here. She's our modeling tech lead. These are two fantastic individuals. Be careful what you ask them, because they will give you an earful, and it's great. It's a great earful. So I'm glad to be here with them. Justin's our Director of Innovation. You're going to learn quickly that he really is focused on innovating and bringing us into that next century and what it looks like and how it communicates, how quickly we can share the information we find. Liliana is in the modeling. She's building these programs and the software that she's manipulating the software to make it so it works for your city. I want to make two things real clear so we all are talking on the same page here. You have a model, and the model lives on a server, and it's a graphic representation of your system. It looks at everything underground, the things that we don't see but we drive across every day. And here in February, we talked about infiltration and inflow, and those things that are coming into our system that we're treating and spending money on. And we talked about how we can rehab our system, make it better. The model looks at flows in the system. It looks at that information, and then it develops, and you can run analysis with it. You can run analyses with it. The capacity analysis tool works with the model, but they're not dynamic. They are static. So the model is built, and it's a point in time. I don't know if our neighbors outside are flushing the toilet today like they were when we took the data, when we gathered that data. So this model is a static point in time, and what we intend to do with this model is to predict what's going to happen going forward and how we can improve and be ready for the future. The capacity analysis tool that Justin will touch on is really how do we effectively communicate that and how do we quickly get that information. So those are the two things we're going to talk about. First, we're going to talk about modeling, and Liliana here is going to step up and give us a brief rundown of what that looks like, what the process was, and then after Liliana's done, Justin will step up and he'll share with us how it's being communicated and the tools that our team, Trent and Kenton and their groups have available to them to analyze that. So without further ado, Liliana Portis.
Thank you. So first, why would the city want to develop a hydraulic model? To answer that, first we need to understand the need. And the need is to evaluate the current wastewater capacity in the system and also identify the system's limitations. One proven way to do this is to build a hydraulic model. And like Pat said, this is essentially a representation of your current system under current conditions. It's supposed to be reliable so that we can then trust it to run future conditions or future simulations that we can expect. I'm going to talk a little bit about what the process looks like to build that model and then what we can use and do with it. The first thing is the flow monitoring, which is where we gather flow. This is where we measure flow currently in the system and use it to develop our model. So on the right here, you can see different blue triangles. Those are all the flow meters that we installed in the system, in this case from November 2021 to June 2022. And the reason we implement them for a few months is so that we can gather multiple weather conditions. So when it's dry outside, when it's weather outside, how does your system respond? And then, like I said, those flow meters will provide the flows that we're going to use in the calibration of the model, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. When I'm talking about different weather conditions, we really put those under two different categories. We're talking about dry weather and wet weather conditions. So the dry weather conditions, and here's a little visual, I don't know if I can point to this. Okay. So the yellow line here is your dry weather flow conditions. This is what you would typically and ideally expect your sewer system to operate as. Yes, the bottom yellow line. So you can see it's very cyclical and it's low flow. So you can see, you know, when everybody wakes up in the morning, everyone's showering, using the sink, whatever. Then it dips a little bit. When everyone gets home from work, you see a little bit, it goes back up a little bit, and then when everyone's asleep, yeah, you see that big divot in the middle. And then it continues on for multiple days. Again, that's the ideal for the system. It's not the reality. The reality is the blue line. Thank you, Pat. And that is what we call wet weather flow conditions. The gray at the very top left of the graph there, that's a rainfall event. So you can see directly after that rainfall, you see a very sharp incline in the flow in the system. And that's due to I&I, inflow and infiltration. It's flow that's not being billed to customers, that gets in the system and eventually has to get to the plant. So you see a very sharp incline in the system that takes a long time for it to go back down to a normal. So those are what we're talking about when we say dry weather and wet weather conditions. And that's all information that we gather with the flow monitoring. So when I was talking about inflow and infiltration, this is what we mean. Inflow is surface flow, or flow that comes in from the surface. So, you know, if you see an uncapped clean out in your front yard, that's an area where water can come into the system. If the roof drains allow flow into the system, that's coming from the surface. Infiltration sources are sources of water from underground. So any cracks in the pipes that allow, groundwater to come into the pipes, or any failures in the system underground that allows a lot of flow through, especially when it rains. Those are your sources of that extra flow that, again, does not get charged to your customers. So once we understand what the flow in the system is, we need to actually build the system, and that's that graphical representation that Pat was talking about. And to develop that, we use lots of different data sources. The first and most reliable is survey data. So we actually go out and measure the gravity sewer system and put that into our system. We surveyed the more major parts of the system and places that we can expect the majority of the flow to come through, and also places that we expect to be developed in the future. And then we also get data that's provided by the city, so data for our lift stations, our pump capacity, our force main information was provided by the city. And then inevitably there's going to be any gaps in our information, so to fill in those gaps we'll use GIS data that was also provided by the city. And then if need be, we make reasonable, educated assumptions about the system. So once we have flows and we have the infrastructure, we put it all together and we get a model. Now, we can run the model, but we want it to actually, again, represent reality. And that's where we do calibration. To do calibration, we make adjustments to different model parameters in order to, again, get it within a reasonable, closeness to the existing data. So for example, on the bottom here, you see this is the dry weather flow graph. And the blue line is what was in the system, what we actually saw with the flow measuring, or the flow monitoring, and then the model is the orange line. So you can see that the model actually pretty closely represents what was happening during dry weather flow conditions. And then on the right, we have multiple storms. So these are the dates of the storm. So December 31st, 2021, there was a storm, January 9th, 2022. And every time those storms happened, the model, again, pretty closely represents what was happening those days. So once we're pretty confident that, again, the model is calibrated correctly and it's a reliable representation of the system, we can then evaluate, which means that we look at what are some of the improvements that will provide the most positive impact to your system. So first, we develop evaluation criteria, which is essentially the level of service that we expect to give to the customers. And then we compare the existing system to that level of service. If there are some capacity limitations in the system, which we expect there to be, we will come up with some capital improvement projects to immediately address those capacity concerns. And then, like I said, we will identify those sewer basins that have the highest I&I, that inflow and infiltration, that extra flow that comes into the system. And we develop a long-term plan to continuously rehabilitate and maintain those basins. So this is the evaluation portion, and this is one of the things that you can do with your hydraulic model, but something else that you can do is also the tool that Justin's going to talk about, which assesses the sewer capacity from a specific point of origin all the way to the treatment plant. So Justin's going to talk about that.
All right, thank you. So you can tell it was a really sophisticated part. It's very, very intelligent people that get to build these things. My job, my team's role, is to communicate those results to the end user and enable you all to take action on yourself and utilize the model results versus just a really sophisticated, complex model that might be challenging to get some of the results out of. So we developed a tool called well, in this case, we call it the FCAT, the Franklin Capacity Assessment Tool. This is a web-based tool. It's a URL that you would go to and log in, and it has three main components. It uses the model output that Liliana just got through talking about. It is GIS-driven. It uses your cities, your GIS, meaning your geographical information systems, your points, your lines, your polygons of your wastewater system. And then it has a historical component, so it wants to track all the historical runs that you've done from your capacity assessment to maintain those and keep those going. Just a quick screenshot of the application. This is it on the right. There's a login and a disclaimer and understanding of what's happening on the site. But we use single sign authentication. You sign into the site with the city has usernames and passwords for that. Has a map where you can search for a proposed development or an area where you want to assess capacity by an address and run the capacity analysis within the map. As I mentioned, we have a historical component to it. So if you make a run and somebody comes in and say we want to do a development, it can store that and reserve that capacity, take it out of the system so the next person coming along can have a more accurate and reflected capacity from along that part of the system. And the ability to do reporting and filtering on all the historical runs and the data that's in there. And finally, we have a little help section of it for documentation. This is an example of how you would do an assessment. In this case, I've searched, I've searched for this area, and you can see just underneath that little pin, Pat, if you can show that little highlighted area, yeah, that's a manhole that I'm going to run a capacity from. Say I'm doing a proposed development in that area, and that's my connection point. And I would give it a name, a description of what's going on there. I would do a requested load, whether it be millions of gallons or gallons per day, any type of requested load for that wastewater. And we have an option to say, is it essential? Meaning, is it a fire station? Is it a school? Is it a hospital? Things that are essential to our community and not necessarily be bound by wastewater capacity. After clicking go, it does a very complex but very rapid assessment from that location, and it traces it down to the treatment plant. And every single pipe segment is color-coded, green good, red out, no capacity or limited capacity. You can see on the left, we have a series of green pipes and red pipes that go from that one location I was just showing up to the treatment plant in the northwest part of the city. That's a wet weather, as you heard Liliana talk about wet weather, dry weather. That's a wet weather flow. I can toggle my button to a dry weather and see what the look is for that same run during dry weather capacity. All those results are then reported in a table. Every single pipe segment is given its available wet weather capacity, available dry weather capacity, and then a final status, whether it being capacity or no capacity for that pipe segment. We then store those in your assessment history portion of the website, where we have runs that'll just grow and grow and grow as you run them, You can view a more detailed report of that individual run. You can look at it at a high level. You can change the status. You can filter based on things that you've committed to the system, you've reserved, or you canceled, do all types of reporting. And then it spits out a really nice, pretty PDF report that you can export with all the results on it as well. And that's the technology side.
Pretty cool, right, Matt? This is what we do. We love it. It's exciting to see. It's exciting to see communities such as yourselves that want to really know what's happening in your system. Most of us flush the toilet in the morning, we forget all about it. We don't care until it's in our yard or something of that nature. But this is the program that shows you that the city of Franklin cares, and it's neat to see. Before we go into the conclusion analysis, are there any questions that you have for these individuals? It's great to have them here with this, and the board always has great questions. Are there any questions you want to bring up?
I don't really have a question. I guess it is and it's not. Obviously, thank you guys for making this presentation, and I think you just made a comment that's very, very warranted, and that is a lot of the work that goes into the operation of within the city. If you go to your, use the bathroom and you flush it, it goes down. That's all you're concerned with.
That's right.
How that happens and where it goes, it's just good it doesn't go anywhere, that people can be inconvenienced.
That's a polite one.
A lot of this, a lot of the conversation you guys had today is definitely over my head, but I'm glad you know more about it than I do, and sometimes I'll probably pick Trent's brain so he can kind of break it down a little bit more for where, I can understand. But I do have one question with this. I know there's been some concerns, and I know we're addressing that with a lot of the sewer work and things that we're doing. And of course, obviously, one of the main concerns that's been in the community is when our manholes and the large amount of water that our system gets into the manholes and places like that, and the overflow that comes out through the manhole. Is this something that will help address that as well? That overflow of water that we see coming out in various places sometimes, especially the manhole. That's my question.
Yeah. Do either of you want to address that first? You want me to summarize it?
Sure. Well, yeah, so that is one of the things that was in our evaluation report is, and that's where I talked about the rehabilitation of certain basins. If you see sewer overflows, that's that wet weather flow condition. After, you typically see those after a rain, I assume.
Absolutely.
So yes, so if we rehabilitate and get a hold on that inflow and infiltration, you should see a reduction in that wet weather flow, and you should avoid seeing, at least see a reduction in those sanitary sewer overflows. So.
I think we understand that. Thank you. I can understand that language. Thank you for explaining that for me, please.
And Commissioner Stewart, obviously, this is going to just basically tell you, it's going to confirm what you're seeing.
Okay.
The model will. The neat thing here, though, is that this is really focused on future growth and future development. If we have large industry coming in that wants to come to this city, I know that every commissioner on this board wants to, help the city grow.
Sure.
This will help us answer the question of yes or no, can they come?
Sure.
And can we meet their needs? That's the key here, right? We want to meet the needs of those coming. With this, we'll be able to better have a handle on where we need to focus our efforts. Ultimately, yeah, it will help stop overflows. That's our goal here. Ultimately, that's what Trent was trying to push for and get through, working with city officials. And I'm hopeful that as we continue on in this effort of rehabilitating your system, rehabilitate is maybe not the best word, maintaining your system, right? It's just like anything we do in our lives. Any piece of equipment's going to break down, get dirty, we got to clean it. Rehabilitation is the word we use for going in and fixing this wet weather flow. It's not that we're flushing twice or three times more than we did before. It's really those rainstorms that come through, and as our pipes get older, they just start letting stuff in. But yeah, that's the ultimate end goal, Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking the question. Mayor,
Anybody else
any
have a question?
questions?
Comment? I just want to thank you for coming and doing the presentation. It helps us all to have a little better understanding of what goes on, and the community helps them to understand more about how things work, and we appreciate you coming and giving the presentation to us.
Thank you, Mayor, so
We sure
much.
do.
We appreciate you all. This is really just a commensurate discussion. We started in 2021, and
Right.
we can happily say that 2025, to the city manager and to Trent, that we've completed the task that was given to us. Commissioner McCreary.
I want to get your input on this. Anytime it rains 7 inches in 24 hours, I don't care what you do, any city in America, you're going to see water coming up out of manholes. It's billions and billions. So there's no miracle sewer system that's going to take care of that. I just wanted to clear that up.
But Commissioner McCreary, we are on the path to cleaning that up.
I hope so. But
like to see it.
we're not the only city that it happens to either, by far.
No, that's
All
true.
right.
That's like Bowling Green's
Okay.
worse.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank
Thank you
y'all.
for your time, and thank you for coming. Yes. Okay, we will move on from utilities to ordinance, and I believe Ms. Kathy has a first reading here for ordinance.
We do, thank you, Mayor. We'll have first summary reading today of ordinance number 2025-026, an ordinance amending certain section of chapter 116 of the City of Franklin Code of Ordinances entitled Peddlers, Door-to-Door Sellers, and Solicitors. This concludes first summary reading of this ordinance. Ordinance will become effective upon passage and publication and will be posted on the city's website. A full copy of the ordinance is available upon request by contacting the city clerk at City Hall during normal business hours.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Appreciate it. Did you have a question?
I did, for Chief Goodrum and Director Scott. I know we discussed that. Do y'all have a start date, implementation date when you dispatch and type such? Sure, yeah. Apologize, I should have asked that earlier.
Yeah.
I should have asked that earlier.
Oh,
Slipped
no,
my
that's no
mind.
problem. Yeah, so on that document on there, I kind of had a implementation date, roughly December 1st. Reason being, one, I really didn't know what kind of mechanism we were going to have, and, if it has to go to local government, Department of Local Government, all those things, all those things take time. Mainly, though, our guys are in the fire academy right now, and they will graduate, should be like November 14th. So then, a couple weeks after that. However, I'm going to go to work immediately on it, because as you know, we'll have to submit that to dispatch, and, that can be somewhat of a challenge, so, yeah. We'll go ahead and work on that, and then, if we can get it done sooner, then, we'll get it done sooner. But let me reiterate while we're doing that. So that was just the automatic part of it. We're still doing all these things, we've been doing it anyway, so as request, if EMS has needed us, they call us, we come. Never been a question about that, and we will always continue to do that. But as far as just making it, nice formal, piece of paper.
Well, I do want to emphasize, I do want to emphasize, I saw in the paper that we've already been doing this. That's not quite the case. This is a new program. Just wanted to emphasize that to the public.
As far as...
Automatic response versus...
Yeah, an automatic response. We're kind of arguing semantics there a little bit, but, we've been doing all these calls. As, they needed, we're dispatched to them, we go. There's that part of it's never really been an issue.
Correct.
We're adding a couple of those things that I mentioned earlier, just to an automatic, response.
Which makes all the difference in the world.
Sure. And, but again, as soon as we can get that done, Tom and I'll get that to dispatch, and, I'm sure you're familiar, but that'll take a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? If you have to call, you're probably too late. So that's where the improvement of all this is going to come in.
Mayor, if I may, Chief Goodrum asked me specifically about the money issue again, and as I understand it, we've already been paying it. It was never withheld. As they're billed, they're paying it.
That's fine. After I said that, you asked if I needed a motion, and I was like, well, maybe we do, because I didn't know.
And so people, you saw me leaning over here asking, and when they said that, I knew we didn't need a motion, that we were already going ahead and paying it. So you should be fine. If not, talk to this lady right here.
I'll pass the message along.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on, and for a change, there's no executive session today, so that's good. We will move on to city attorney reports.
I have none, Mayor.
Okay, City Manager?
Yeah, just a couple things back in your packet. I think it's good to note on page 98, Megan put a suggestion box, and these were two positive suggestions, or just the notes that came out in the same week. It says customer service is wonderful, and it says type of improvements, none, you're great. And then in the same week, it says, I'm from Nashville. Sorry, Patrick. This person was from Nashville, without the doubt. For sure, I know that Simpson County takes the best care of the roads in any other city. I visited and I've lived there and I've drove through. You all are on it when it snows. Thank you for making the trips to and from safest when there's an inch of snow. But the roads are drivable. So Patrick, you can pass that on to Nashville, that our roads are the best. And the other thing is, Mr. Dale, you mentioned customer service. We're doing Fred Factor. We're in our third week of our staff. Jeremy, you want to talk about Fred Factor? But this is customer service. We'll be in week 3. It talks about how to be better oriented for customers. And it's a real quick read. It's real good. We've had great discussions, but we understand it's customer satisfaction. And I don't know if you've read this, but it's the 20th edition. I recommend it to anybody. So I just want to tell you, every Friday at 9 o'clock we start if you want to jump in, but I'm taking them through a reading club. But it's really been a factor. So I just wanted to pass that on, that the things that we do try to do to help being more customer friendly. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Commissioner Stewart?
Mayor, I just want to thank everyone for their prayers, their thoughts, and the calls in the death of my father-in-law. I appreciate it greatly, and I'll pass that on to all of the family as well. And I just appreciate all the love and concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner McQuarrie?
Not just to add with what Kent said about customer service, I want the commission to be thinking about this. I'm requesting it that we need to seriously start looking at, even if we hire somebody to go along with help that's needed at the admin level at City Hall, about we need somebody to greet the public and answer phones. Of course, you heard my story before where I've called other counties. I just think it's not very welcoming the way we have it now. I mean, we've got a bank there with open doors. I just think we're at a time where we're way past COVID, and we need to think about putting it back where we can have more welcoming to the public. Just if all you guys will think about it, maybe we can discuss it next meeting, maybe get it on the agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner McQuarrie. I just want to say, being at City Hall, as you heard me say a little earlier, I'm there every day. Until you're there and you see what goes on and you hear what goes on, nobody really knows what goes on. So I can sit here and tell you that our faculty is truly overworked, and they need help. And I think we're working toward alleviating that situation. And as I said a little earlier, we have to think about the future too. We can't sit here and wait for something to happen and then try to take hold of it. We have to think about the future and prepare for the future. That's just like the sewer and the water and everything else that we do. There has to be preparation done for it. And also, I did want to send condolences to Commissioner Stewart's family. He's had a hard lick lately. He lost a mother and a father-in-law too, within about a month apart or so. So you certainly have our condolences, Commissioner Stewart. Commissioner Bush?
Dale, did you want to bring up anything about the 2 text amendments for the data center?
No, sir. They've canceled. They canceled that meeting last week.
But it's still, we made a motion to send it to the planning and zoning, correct?
Yeah.
So I would make a motion that we undo that so that we can pause to figure out what's really going on. Would you second that motion?
I probably would. I've had some discussion with, but I think we need to talk about it more, Commissioner Bush. There's, when we did that, it was to be able to entertain. I don't want to take up too much time. So when we did agree to do the text amendment recommendation, we did that for purely being able to entertain a data center. And I can't emphasize this enough, and I think Commissioner Bush will agree. There was questions asked about if a company came, how much would they use water? And we were told, no, they wouldn't. So this is kind of make-believe fairy dust at the moment. There is no data center that is asked to come. There is no proposal that was made. I want to clarify this. We've not talked to any company. So we merely entertained the idea of maybe entertaining a data center, because we're not, as a commissioner, I'm not going to turn my back on entertaining any company. I'm absolutely going to listen to any company. Does that mean we're going to do it? Absolutely not. Are they going to use a lot of water, resources, et cetera? This commission isn't stupid. We're going to ask those questions. So I've heard a lot of rhetoric about this. I'll say again, there is no company, there is no proposal, nobody has been to talk to us. That's where we stand. So Commissioner Bush, with that said, I think we have time to see if that's even going to possible happen.
So what would be the point of even sending it to planning and zoning if
Well, because
we
if,
don't understand the ramifications of it?
I understand, but if we don't have the text amendment, we won't even have the possibility to entertain them. So I don't want to do that, but that's what, yeah, makes sense. I mean, it's still not going to do anything. But if we stop the text amendment, we won't have a chance to even entertain them, which I'm not saying we will or won't. I don't, there's this company we don't even know about, so it's not high on my importance, but I do see your point.
I would make the motion that we undo what we did and repeal the text amendment from the planning and zoning so we can have a discussion on it.
Have a second?
I'll second.
If not, okay, we have a second.
Yeah, sure will.
Okay, we'll take a roll call vote.
I'd like to ask Commissioner Bush to restate your motion. I want to be clear on what you want to do.
So the motion would be to, is there a certain way I need to say it?
It's your motion.
It's your motion.
The motion would be to not to
Remove the recommendation that we
So we
presented
recommend
first.
not sending the text amendments to planning and zoning. We pull that back for further discussion until we can fully understand if there's a project and what the project is and the needs of the project.
I don't think I've got all that.
We have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any further discussion to that effect?
I do a little more. I'll second that motion with reservation. But however, you heard what I said, that we got a little conflict in information from the get-go, and that is a concern for me. If you remember, I asked a specific question. Would this proposed company use water for cooling? And we were told no. I think all you gentlemen will agree. And I found out recently, they may, but no company has still came to talk to us. So with that said, I'm going to lean toward seconding the motion.
Mayor?
Well, what we're doing, we're backing up on something that we've already passed. Excuse me. Go ahead, Commissioner Stewart.
You know, this is, I know, somewhat of speculative conversation, but as it relates to the possibilities of, you know, of a data center coming here, it's you know, that's still undetermined. In areas, and you know, as Trent's group made mention just a few minutes ago, and he made a good point when he said, you know, what is this community able to bring in? You know, I mean, do we have the electrical capacity? Do we have water capacity? You know, and it's always good to know these things, because a lot of, you know, when you throw out an idea, it sounds so good, everybody's ready to jump on the bandwagon and have no idea what goes into that, or whether or not it is even feasible for us to do that. In this particular area, you know, I think that, you know, some of the water consumption, if something like that were to be used, it's going to be just what your basically what your everyday water capacities would be, you know, restrooms, drinking, and things.
That's not true.
Anyway, without going off into the further details of it, because a lot of this information, obviously, when these companies come into these communities, They like to be able to make their own announcements of what they're doing, and sometimes you just can't, you can't roll out what you think in hypothetics and things that you ideally think is happening unless you're part of the process. You know, to be able to hear hearsay and then make that truth, that's absurd unless you know the full details of just what actually is happening here. Some of this I do, but I'm not at liberty to divulge it because it is conversation that does not permit me to do that, or I'll be in violation. But, you know, but I can tell you and assure you, based on some of the conversation that I've heard, is that some of the speculation that someone is putting out that has no idea, no concept other than just their own ideology is totally untrue.
Yeah.
It is totally untrue. I sat in the room and I know what was been said. Now, unless that's a lie, then that's what I heard was a lie, but I don't believe that it was a lie, okay? Again, I'm not at liberty to divulge the whole full conversation, but I am a part of the board in which that we have these conversations, and I will not sit here and make any, I will not put that information out until the proper time. But trust me, you know, it is looked at, it will be looked at with the proper decision makers, planning and zoning, and the people that actually will make some conclusion of that. So that's all I had to say, Mayor.
Okay. Well, I sit in the same position that Commissioner Stewart does. I'm on the board also, so I have made my statement, and if there's no further comment,
Mayor,
we'll.
at this point, we're only doing the text amendment.
That's all. That's all.
I am not for undoing what we have done. I am still in favor of going forward with some, my vote's going to be no on this motion, on this ordinance recommendation.
Mayor
Okay.
Dixon, would you like for me to take a roll call vote?
Please.
Okay, Commissioner Powell, you're
No.
voting no, okay.
Yes.
Bush is yes. Mayor?
No.
McCreary?
Yes.
Stewart?
No.
And that motion does not pass.
Okay.
Return.
At this point in time, we have no other commission business.
Well, I don't think you asked.
Mayor, sorry, I didn't mean to overpass you. I did not mean to overlook you. That's Commissioner Powell.
I just want to say continued prayers to Commissioner Stewart, Kelly and her family, and to the Moore family, and to Scott. His dad's in the hospital, not in real good condition. We want to remember him in our prayers. And at that, I make a motion we adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Powell to adjourn. We have a second by Commissioner Bush. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And any opposition? And I don't think